from Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked for It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that goes anywhere in the world just because you asked for it. Tonight, Santa's reindeer preparing for the big day. A modern-day German living as if a time machine transported him back into the dark ages. And we'll take you on a trip inside a hot dog and much, much more. But first, a man who drives a race car 100 miles per hour blindfolded. Now, this man, Astonishing Neil, claims special powers which we are going to put him to the supreme test. He will attempt this on a standard track which he will circle 3 times. And we'll go into that car with him to make him prove that he can do it. From Pocono, Pennsylvania, here's Jack Smith with the story, because Bruce Campbell of St. Louis, Missouri, you asked for it.
The scene is the Pocono Raceway in northeastern Pennsylvania. William Neal, known professionally as the Astonishing Neil, is about to risk his life on this track while attempting to beat his own personal record for high-speed driving while blindfolded. Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania Police Chief Fred Bamloo is here to ensure the safety of this feat and to verify that there will be no tricks involved. While Fred and George Ewald, the raceway superintendent, check the car for any possible radar devices, Neil composes himself on the sidelines. Neil is all ready to step into darkness. With Fred as witness, he begins his elaborate blindfolding process. First, 2 thick pancakes of clay are pressed over his eyes, and a strip of adhesive tape added to hold them fast. Then a thick swath of cotton is placed on top.
And next, Fred, will be it's a 12 thickness blindfold,
and over this goes a totally opaque 12-fold thick blindfold.
And now what I'd like you to do, Fred, is to hold it right in front of the camera so that everyone watching can see how it looks to me. It's totally dark and completely opaque, impossible to see through. I'd like you to place that over the cotton, Fred, and snap it behind. Place this opaque
to ensure against any light leakage, Neil places a black hangman's hood over his head and has Fred tie it securely around his neck. Before Neil attempts his record high-speed drive, he set a simpler test for himself. Simpler for him, that is. He's going to drive through a human obstacle course of 7 people, blindfolded.
It's an ability that I have that I call para-optic vision. Without using my eyes, I can actually visualize and sense things around me. It'll just be a matter simply of sensing in and kind of tuning in, and to hopefully avoid those same people out on the track.
The only instructions Neil's given to the hearty souls who have placed their lives in his hands is not to move at any time, no matter what happens. Amazing, he's done it. Well, now it's time for the supreme test, 100 miles per hour blindfolded. Chief Bamloo gets in with our cameraman behind him. Both will be silent passengers, checking all the way, giving no help under any circumstance. Neil will make 1 run around the 3-cornered track, hoping to surpass his 100-mile-an-hour mark somewhere between the 2nd and 3rd turns. Since the car speedometer only reads as high as 80 miles an hour, Neil is relying on the police chief to read the car's tachometer. Once it rises above 6,250 revolutions per minute, Neil will have beaten his old record.
I don't have any fear concerning my own abilities. I feel very confident in my own abilities and what I can do. I do, however, concern myself with the car, a blowout, a mechanical failure. But having a good ability of precognition, I feel that there will be no mishaps.
The tachometer hovers around 6,000 revolutions per minute. Not fast enough. The car is vibrating tremendously. He brings it out of the second turn and into the straightaway. The tachometer is beginning to climb. "6,600 revolutions per minute. That's equivalent to 105 miles an hour.
My job is to show people that they have astonishing abilities as well as I do, and that it is possible really to go one step beyond what people believe can happen. Fred, I think you saw in there that the record definitely was broken, Fred. You could see on the tachometer.
Yes, you
that
did.
We definitely went
Yes, you
over
did.
100 miles an hour.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you very much. And just to prove that everything is exactly as you left it, nothing has been disturbed whatsoever, I want you, Fred, to take, if you will, unfasten the knot. And we can lift the hood up gently so that nothing is disturbed at all. Everything, Fred, exactly like you left it.
Yes, it is.
Nothing disturbed at all.
The astonishing Neil, because you asked for it.
Now that is amazing. Neil drives as though he wasn't blindfolded. Most of the people I see on the freeway drive as if they were. Well, coming up next, a journey deep into the mysterious interior of a hot dog. We'll be back.
And now back to Rich Little.
A hot dog. I mean, what's a ball game or a circus or a picnic or the 4th of July without hot dogs? Do you ever start to take a bite, though, and then wonder, what the heck is inside one of these things? Well, Rosina Seidel of Atlanta, Georgia did, and she wrote, "I would like to see what hot dogs are really made of." Okay, from Boston, here's Jack Smith with the inside story.
Rich, this is the kind of story that almost has to start out at the ballpark. In this case, Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox. In between the runs, hits, and errors, people are filling up on hot dogs, known here as Fenway Franks. Vendors have found that hot dog consumption averages 1 dog for each person in the park. So 35,000 fans will put away a healthy 35,000 francs. But how do you make a hot dog? Well, this is where it starts, of course. But the part we're interested in happens when nature has done its job and man and machine take over. The meat arrives here in the form of processed and deboned beef and is put onto this mechanical lift. This is the grinding phase. The better the quality of the meat selected, the better the quality of the hot dog. Next, a bit of salt and a carefully measured amount of water. The resulting liquefied mixture is just the right consistency. As a semi-liquid, it can now be piped from place to place. First stop, the centrifuge. Here the meat will be whirled around at high speeds until the air is forced out of it. The texture now begins to resemble that of a finished hot dog. But another step remains to make them look more like what we're used to. This machine prepares the meat for cooking by pumping it into heat-resistant cellophane. A special twist is added. The twist between hot dogs that first gives them their characteristic shape. This is the oven where the hot dogs cook and acquire their smoky flavor. When they leave, their temperature will be 165 degrees. And now it's time to get down to business. First, they get rid of that cellophane wrapping. And hot dog. Now we're getting somewhere. And at a terrific rate. 100,000 of them an hour. 8 million every week. They're starting to look more like what you see at the ballpark now, as they head for the packaging department. Cows, machines, and human hands have all played their part. Now these dogs are bound for the ballpark. And we've seen their journey begin because...
Well, as Fernando Valenzuela would say, that was a wiener. Oh, Jack, are you there?
Well, so much for hot dogs. But how about Santa Claus and his reindeer? You know, when we see Santa's sleigh drawn by those graceful little animals, we may not stop to question just how difficult it might be to train a reindeer. Well, it occurred to one of our letter writers back in 1956. So here's the answer to how to raise reindeer from Redmond, Oregon, and the farm of John Zoomstein.
We sent our camera to Redmond, Oregon farm of John Zoomstein, America's leading authority on raising reindeer in captivity. Now, these are special food pellets, blended to just the right proportions to match their native diet on the Arctic tundra. These animals are just as timid and skittish as any wild deer when they're first brought in from Alaska. They're raised here only for Christmas display, which means that they must be completely tamed and then broken to pull Santa's sleigh. Ever try to catch a reindeer? No, the other way. Those antlers could really part your hair sideways. Now, the idea is to get several inside this enclosure and then cut out just the one they want. Only they haven't explained that to the reindeer. Uh-oh, right over the fence. Now to put on the halter. Better grab him. Got him. Horns everywhere. Watch where he holds on. Right above the head. John Zoomstein found out something when he brought his first reindeer down from Alaska. Tie them to a rigid post, and they'll fight so hard that they break their necks. But now he has the answer. A loose fence post that they can drag around. But even that's no easy job with a spooky reindeer at the other end of the rope. Well, a reindeer gets tired too, and sooner or later he decides it isn't worth it. Mr. Zoomstein likes his herd to live in their natural state throughout the year. They're only for Christmas display, so a few months before Christmas comes the job of gentling them down again, giving them the feel of the harness. Well, Prancer, as I live and breathe. We've heard that name before. 4 in harness. They remember what it's all about by this time. Now, that truck is not for additional weight or to give them trouble. It's driven in slow gear behind them to help, yet keep them in restraint. Just look at the way they tug. 4 tiny reindeer. A few days of that and they're ready. It's all yours, Santa. The final step, and Santa needs some training too, handling the reindeer team. Hey, who's that getting into the act? Red-Nosed Rudolph, of course. On Dancer, on Prancer, etc., etc. Rudolph will lead the way, kinda. So long, Santa. We'll be seeing you.
Jack, I'm confused. Just what is it that reindeer do?
Well, you know, Rich, reindeer only work one night a year on Christmas Eve.
And what do they do the other 364 days?
They're on unemployment.
It's true, not too many openings for reindeer. Coming up next, a trip back in time with a warrior of the Dark Ages. We'll be back.
And now back to Rich Little.
This is how it goes out. Friends, if you want to participate in this fantastic and truly phenomenal excitement of this show, grasp your writing instrument firmly in your hand and send in your challenges. Fabulous feats of prestidigitation, indescribable courage, esoteric locations all around the world, or whatever excites you. Just write to us in care of You Asked For It, P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. And do it right now. Take it from me, Howard Cosell, a legend in my own mind. Step aboard a time machine with a modern-day German. He lives as if he'd been transported to the Dark Ages. Turning his back on today, he even speaks in an ancient tongue. Following the trail of his ancestors to a more challenging life, Dale Haramoto flew to Austria to take us on this unique time trip. Philip Tintner of Esterville, Iowa, You Asked For It.
About 2,000 years ago, the Teutons, ancestors of contemporary Germans, lived in houses like this. Today, only one can be found, in the Teutonic realm claimed by Robert Mohaupt, a modern-day German who wishes he had been born 2,000 years ago. Robert Mohaupt lives with his wife Erika and 6-year-old son Aderich in this replica of an ancient Teutonic home. Their lifestyle is similar to that of ancient Germans who wandered near these woods in Klosterneuburg, Austria. In fact, the Mohaupts even speak an ancient form of German among themselves that is barely comprehensible to modern ears.
Warte mal, schon falsch, Aderich. Schau nicht so. So.
Mr. Mohaupt began building his house 17 years ago. Using yoked horses, Mr. Mohaupt hauled timber from as far as 3 miles away. Vines from this deep ravine provided the material needed to lash the logs together. Not a single metal nail was used in the entire structure. There's no plumbing, no running water, no electricity, and none of the modern conveniences we take for granted. Their water has to be fetched from a spring several hundred yards away. Robert Mohaupt didn't always live this way. Until 1960, he worked for a dentist in Vienna. That's when he decided to change his lifestyle. Now at the age of 60, he has adapted completely to living in the past. Their son Aderich, named after a Teutonic king who reigned 2,000 years ago, goes to school, like any other 6-year-old. But when he comes home to help with the chores, he doesn't wash the windows, he dusts them. They're made of parchment and can't be washed like conventional glass windows. In much the same manner as his Teutonic forebearers, he fashions crude tools and nails under the watchful eyes of Aderich. Father and son spend their leisure hours roaming in the forest in their Teutonic battle gear. Robert, at 60, still appears to be a formidable opponent, and Aderich is rapidly mastering the martial arts. There is one way the Mohaupts differ from their ancient Teutonic ancestors. The Mohaupts are vegetarians, and the ancient Germans loved meat. As a matter of fact, the Mohaupts only keep scraps of meat around to feed the cats that have adopted them. You might say this is home sweet home Teutonic style, and we're seeing it because Philip Tintner, you asked for it.
Ow, this is Edith Bunker. You know, Archie used to live like that fella. Only they didn't call him Teutonic. No, they just called him a bum.
We'll be back with more of Rich because you asked for it. And now back to Rich Little.
Thank you. Oh, we get strange requests in this show. Dear, you asked for it. I want to see the cliff divers of Acapulco dive into one of John Davidson's dimples and live. That's all the time we have. See you next time on... You Asked For It. Good night, everybody.
This is John Harlan speaking. You Asked For It is a Sandy Frank production.